welcome to my channel. If you're new, my name is Vivian. I do all kinds of videos on lifestyle, how-to videos, vlogs, beauty, fashion, try-on, hauls, product reviews, all kinds of stuff. So if you're into that, don't forget to hit the subscribe button below so you don't miss out on my future videos. Today's gonna be a different video. I haven't done one of these yet on my channel. When I was little, my mom taught me how to crochet, and then she tried to teach me how to knit, which I really wasn't a big knitter. So I really kind of got into arm knitting a few years ago, and I did a bunch of scarves. This is one of the scarves that I knit, and I did a ton of those. Her and I actually sold a lot of them. We did that for about 3 years. Made a lot of hats and all that kind of stuff. So I'm really into yarn and crochet, but I've never really been a needle knitter. So when this whole new chunky, blanket trend came out, I thought I am all about that. So I thought I would give it a shot and invite you guys to kind of like learn along with me, so then I could show you how I knit a chunky blanket on the table. If you want to learn how to knit a big chunky blanket with me, just keep watching. So I did pick up the yarn for this project at Joann Fabrics. However, you can pretty much get it anywhere in your local area. Michael's does sell some. This isn't the chunkiest that you can get. You can buy even chunkier yarn. What I'm using today is the Lion brand yarn, Wow Impressionant. Asombroso. So this is what I'm using today. A jumbo yarn, number 7. But honestly, the number 7, like on Etsy, when you're looking at the merino wool yarn, is much chunkier than this. It's probably like 3 times the size. So that's what this looks like. But I thought it was pretty chunky, and I think it'd be great for a blanket. I think I have 9 of them. I bought everything that they had in the store, so I'm hoping it's enough to make a good sized blanket, but we shall see. I'm kind of hoping for like a 30 by 40 blanket or 30 by 45. If it turns out bigger, that's even better. The color of this yarn is called Greige. So it's kind of a mixture of gray and beige. So I thought it would be perfect. I think this is a great blanket that you can just, lay over your sofa or at the end of the bed or on a chair. I think it'd just be really cute. So let's go ahead and get started. And what I did was I just unrolled one of the skeins of yarn so that it would just be sitting here very easily accessible. So what you want to do is you want to start the end here with just a very simple slip knot. And I usually leave about, I would say about that much on the end. So that's where I'm going to do my simple slip knot. And you want to leave it fairly loose so you can kind of just work with that. So what you want to do is you're going to form your base row, foundation row, whatever you want to call it. And then that's where you're going to be knitting on the table, and you're going to be going up basically from there to do your blanket. So that's what we're doing, is we're going to start with the foundation row. So you're basically just going to take your working yarn, which is this big stack of yarn that we've got here, and we're going to pull that through and make another 2-inch loop. And so basically what I want to do is probably going to do, that's what we call a stitch, by the way. What we're going to probably do is maybe 16 or 18 of those, depending on the size. So we're just kind of going to gauge it there. So we're going to just keep pulling that through like that. And I just like to lay it flat here on the table and try to keep all of those loops about the same size. Okay, I decided to sit down. I think it's going to be a little bit more comfortable and cozy. So anyway, like I said, I'm just continuing on here making the foundation row. It doesn't have to be perfect, so just keep that in mind. So let's see, we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 17. 18 stitches for our foundation. So that's going to be the width of your blanket. If you're going to want it wider than that, then you're going to want to put more stitches in your foundation row. Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to work now our first row, and we're going to do it here in each one of these edges that are right here, like the bottom edge of each stitch is where we're going to put our little loop. So you're just going to take your yarn, and all we're going to do is we're just going to go ahead and make a little loop by tucking that under like that. And we're gonna do that in each one of these. I'm gonna try and keep them all about the same size. They're not always gonna wanna lay flat, and that's okay. And then don't forget your last stitch right here. So basically when you're done, you want to make sure you still have 18 stitches. So that's really the most difficult part of the whole project, because now all we're going to do is keep working through each one of those loops and pulling another loop through. Again, you're grabbing from the top, pulling through, and forming another loop just like that. And you're going to do the same thing all the way across. Again, don't worry, they're not really going to lay flat for you. So you're just taking the yarn and pulling through to form a loop and moving right down the row. And again, try to keep them all basically the same size, but it doesn't have to be an exact science. And now we're back to our last loop. I'm just gonna keep going and go all the way through and see if I can get to the end of this first skein of yarn, and then I'm gonna go ahead and join another to it. Okay, so I'm at the end of my yarn here, and we're gonna just start working on our fourth row. So I'm going to go ahead and join my new skein here. Okay, so simply I'm just going to put these two together with a little knot. Just make sure it's super tight. And when you're done with the project, then you're just gonna wanna cut those off right there. If you have like a felter, you can always join that together and you can just barely see it. So that should be fine. Okay, we're just gonna start our fourth row and just continue putting through the loops. Okay, so I am almost finished. So I'm basically done with my last row. What I'd like to do is measure the blanket right now and see if I even want to, or really even need to use my last two skeins of yarn. So let's measure it. Okay, so we're roughly at about a 70-inch blanket lengthwise, so I think that is more than sufficient. I can actually stop right here. So I'm gonna show you guys how it is that we finish off the last row. Basically what you're gonna do is you're going to start it just like we have been doing every other row, which is just starting by putting in a loop. Just basically gonna do the same thing we've been doing, which is put up a loop and put up a loop. And then what you're gonna do is you're going to take the second loop and put it through the first loop. Okay. Now we're on our third one. And it looks kind of sloppy, but it'll all work out. So then you've got your next one. And again, you're gonna do the same thing, putting that one through the next loop. The whole time I was doing it, every like other row, I would count to make sure I still had 18, just because it might get a little bit confusing because you have so many loops going on. Just make sure you always consistently have the amount that you started with, which is, for me, was 18 loops. So basically you're just casting off here. As you can see, it's just kind of ending up with chains right here going this way on the last row. So once you've reached the end here, all you're going to do is take what's left of your yarn, which I have not left myself with a whole lot. You probably should make sure when you're finishing off that you're leaving yourself enough yarn to make sure you can cast off at the end. But I do have enough, and so I just put it right through the last loop and tighten it up. And I always like to make a little bit of an extra knot just to be safe. Just like that. Okay guys, so I'm all done with the blanket. This is the finished product. As you can see, it's just very large loops and a lot of it. With the ends that are left, I'm just gonna go ahead and tuck them in and then just finish it off. It's very simple, or you can even sew them in, but I'm just gonna tuck and probably knot it off. So I think this is the type of really loopy blanket that you're just gonna wanna have for show. I don't know necessarily that I would use this as, you know, a cover. I'm sure it would be fine, but I think it'd be just a beautiful throw to put over the sofa or at the end of the bed. I just think it's just really cool and unique and different. So I really liked working with this yarn. I think I might try a thicker yarn and maybe do another one, and maybe I will do a video on that one as well. I'm thinking maybe I want to do like a chenille. Let me know what you guys thought of this video. Give me a thumbs up if you like these type of how-to videos, or if maybe you're going to try this. I'd love to hear in the comments below what you think. So, don't forget to subscribe, guys, so you don't miss out on my next video, and we'll see you next time. Bye.